You might find it hard to believe, but the once glittering stars of Hollywood, adored by millions and lighting up the silver screen, are now grappling with heartbreaks no one could have ever imagined. These icons, from Don Cheadle to Viola Davis to the legendary Wesley Snipes, were once at the peak of fame, but today they're fighting against isolation, poverty, and deep emotional wounds that refuse to heal. How did their lives, once so perfect, unravel into a storm of sorrow? Get ready, because the stories you're about to hear might just leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about fame, fortune, and the price of success. You won't believe what these stars have been through and why you never heard about it. Stay tuned. Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman, a name that's become synonymous with cinematic greatness, has captivated audiences for decades with unforgettable performances in The Shawshank Redemption, The Dark Knight, and Driving Miss Daisy. With over 60 years in the industry, Freeman has earned his place not just as a star, but as a true legend of film. However, behind that iconic voice and calm, collected presence lies a life filled with challenges. In 2008, Freeman faced a life-altering moment. While driving through Mississippi, his car flipped multiple times in a terrifying crash, leaving his left hand severely damaged. The injury was so intense that recovery seemed almost impossible. For years, Freeman endured constant pain and had to wear a compression glove just to do basic tasks. While the physical pain was excruciating, the emotional toll, teetering on the edge of depression, was even harder to bear. It made him question whether he could continue the career he loved so much. Then, in 2015, another tragedy struck. Freeman's step-granddaughter, Adina Hines, was tragically murdered in New York, a loss that shattered him. The grief from her death cast a long shadow over his life, leaving him sleepless and unable to take on major roles for a time. The memories of Adina's vibrant spirit would often bring him to tears, and the weight of her loss seemed unbearable. But Morgan Freeman has never been one to be defined by adversity. Instead, he found strength in his pain. Determined to honor Adina's memory, Freeman became a passionate advocate for nonprofits focused on domestic violence. And despite the lasting impact of his injury, Freeman kept returning to the screen, delivering performances that continue to inspire millions. His life is a testament to resilience. Even in the face of life's darkest moments, Freeman showed us that it's possible to rise, keep pushing forward, and shine brighter than ever. James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones, a voice so powerful it seems to command the very heavens, is best known for iconic roles like Darth Vader in Star Wars and Mufasa in The Lion King. However, his path to stardom wasn't paved with ease. Far from it. His journey was shaped by years of struggle, where every word he spoke felt like a battle against his deepest insecurities. As a young boy, James dealt with a debilitating stutter that made speaking a painful ordeal. Mocked by classmates and stripped of his confidence, he retreated into silence for nearly 8 years. During that time, he was haunted by self-doubt, and the loneliness weighed heavily on him. Stories even suggest that he would lock himself away, pushing his voice to its limits through relentless practice, so much so that it led to physical exhaustion and a hospital stay. And the challenges didn't stop there. As a black actor in a racially biased industry, James faced blatant racism, with directors rejecting him outright, even suggesting that a black man couldn't portray intellectual roles. The sting of these dismissals nearly pushed him to give up on his dreams altogether. But James wouldn't let the world silence him. He found refuge in Shakespeare, whose complex verses became his training ground. Each line required precision, rhythm, and strength, skills that would ultimately transform his voice into the legendary instrument we know today. From overcoming his stutter to defying racial prejudices, James Earl Jones became a symbol of perseverance, using his greatest challenges to carve out a legacy that continues to inspire audiences around the world. Danny Glover. Danny Glover, the legendary Hollywood icon, didn't just make his mark on the silver screen. He fought and triumphed over battles that went far beyond the spotlight. In the 1980s, audiences adored him in Lethal Weapon and The Color Purple, but behind the acclaim was a man facing a relentless personal struggle: epilepsy. For Glover, dealing with epilepsy wasn't just a physical challenge. It was a battle against fear and stigma. As a child, he endured violent seizures that left him ostracized, mocked by his peers, and even misunderstood by his own family. The doubt surrounding his future was deafening. Would he ever live a normal life? One particularly devastating seizure during an audition led to his rejection, pushing Glover to the brink of despair. But giving up was never an option for him. His resilience went beyond his health struggles. Off-screen, Glover became a powerful advocate for justice, marching in protests and even facing arrest for his beliefs. Whether fighting for workers' rights or speaking out against racism, his voice remained strong and unwavering. The pain, rejection, and pressure he endured became the very things that forged his character. Danny Glover's story isn't just about survival. It's a testament to the unbreakable spirit of a man determined to make the world a better place. Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson is a true Hollywood legend, celebrated for over 150 iconic roles, from Pulp Fiction to The Avengers. But behind the fame lies a story of extraordinary resilience, one shaped by deep personal struggles and heartbreaking losses. Before he became the household name we know today, Jackson was fighting a battle on the inside, caught in the grips of addiction and burdened by a past full of guilt and regret. Rather than letting these challenges define him, Jackson used them as fuel to propel himself forward. In the years before the world knew his name, he was a man at a breaking point. He wasn't yet the icon we celebrate now. He was broken. At one point, his wife and daughter found him unconscious on the floor after a drug overdose. That terrifying moment became a turning point, forcing him to face the darkness that had consumed his life. Jackson made a vow to fight his addiction, but the road to recovery was anything but easy. It wasn't just about overcoming physical cravings. He had to reckon with a past where he was relegated to minor roles in low-budget films. Yet instead of letting these obstacles hold him back, he poured everything into his craft with relentless determination. Slowly but surely, Samuel L. Jackson began to rise. Then, in 2012, tragedy struck again with the death of his mother, the woman who had always been his greatest inspiration. Her loss sent him into a period of deep isolation, and for months he battled overwhelming grief. It seemed as though the weight of loss might finally break him. But once again, Jackson found the strength to carry on, turning his pain into a driving force that fueled his career and proving that even in the darkest moments, there's the potential for an incredible comeback. Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne, a Hollywood legend known for his unforgettable roles in The Matrix and Boys and the Hood, has had a career full of triumphs. But behind the fame and acclaim, his path to success was far from easy. Like many, Fishburne faced significant personal and professional challenges along the way. One of the toughest moments came in 2010 when his daughter, Montana Fishburne, made headlines for a controversial video that sent shockwaves through the family. The scandal left Lawrence deeply shaken as he navigated both the public fallout and the emotional toll it took on his personal life. The impact was profound. Fishburne struggled with disappointment, withdrawing from his daughter for a time, and the fallout affected his career as directors hesitated to cast him. But Lawrence, always the fighter, refused to let this setback define him. Instead of letting despair take over, he quietly took on smaller, yet challenging roles, showcasing that his talent hadn't waned. His resilience helped him find his footing again in the industry, proving that no matter how tough life gets, it's the ability to rise and keep going that truly matters. Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle's story isn't just about his impressive career in Hollywood. It's about the perseverance and resilience that fueled his rise to success. Behind the bright lights of the industry, Cheadle's journey was shaped by challenges that many don't fully grasp. Despite his undeniable talent, he faced constant rejection, not because of his abilities, but because of the color of his skin. These rejections, painful and frequent, were a harsh reality of the discrimination black actors often face in an industry that can be unforgiving. There were moments when survival felt like an impossible task, living in a rundown apartment, struggling to make ends meet, and battling nights filled with doubt. But Cheadle never gave up. Instead of letting prejudice define him, he used it as fuel. He became a strong advocate for the black community, speaking out against police brutality and social injustice. He also supported independent projects, helping pave the way for black artists to find opportunities in an often restrictive industry. In doing so, Don Cheadle became more than just a celebrated actor. He became a symbol of strength and resilience, a man who refused to be defined by the obstacles he faced. Chiwetel Ejiofor. Chiwetel Ejiofor's path to success is a true testament to resilience and determination. Born in London to Nigerian parents, his journey was anything but easy. At just 11 years old, his world was shattered when he lost his father in a tragic car accident. The grief from losing someone so close to him left a permanent mark, one that would haunt him with guilt and sorrow for years to come. But life, as it often does, threw even more obstacles in his way. Hollywood, with its glitzy facade, wasn't exactly welcoming for someone like him. As a black actor, Ejiofor found himself relegated to minor, forgettable roles while leading parts went to white actors, leaving him feeling overlooked and sidelined. Despite these setbacks, his resilience never wavered. When he was finally recognized for his powerful performance in 12 Years a Slave, it wasn't just an acting achievement. It was a victory over the discrimination that had tried to hold him back. But Ejiofor didn't stop there. He pushed further, taking on the challenge of film production and setting out to carve a new path in Hollywood, one that would open doors for others who came after him. Sidney Poitier. Sidney Poitier, the first black actor to win the Oscar for Best Actor in 1964, is a lasting symbol of grace, resilience, and determination in cinema. With unforgettable roles in Lilies of the Field, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and In the Heat of the Night, Poitier carved out his place among the all-time greats, overcoming immense challenges and unrelenting scrutiny. When Poitier first entered Hollywood, he wasn't just an actor. He was a trailblazer walking a solitary and uncertain path. His skin color meant rejection at every turn. He faced shocking instances of discrimination, from a director telling him to hide the blackness to casting rooms where he was judged before he even spoke a word. He couldn't even find a hotel room that would welcome him, and hate-filled threats were left in his mailbox. There's even a story of Poitier spending a night on a rooftop, with no place willing to take him in as a black actor. But the weight he carried wasn't just external. The pressure from his own community was intense. Every role, every choice, every gesture was scrutinized. Poitier wasn't just representing himself, he was carrying the hopes of an entire group, and that responsibility often felt overwhelming. Despite it all, Poitier stood firm. He turned down roles that would have demeaned him and chose instead to create films like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, which became cultural landmarks in the fight for racial equality. His personal life had its struggles, too, including difficult moments in his marriage. But with his second wife, Joanna Shimkus, he found stability and support, building a family that helped ground him as he continued to thrive. Today, Sidney Poitier isn't just a Hollywood legend. He's a testament to perseverance, reminding us that dignity and determination can light the way even through the darkest challenges. Cicely Tyson. Cicely Tyson, the timeless Hollywood icon, was more than just a star. She was a trailblazer who opened doors for black women in entertainment. With unforgettable performances in Sounder, 1972, and the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman, 1974, she didn't just earn awards, she broke down stereotypes and reshaped how the world viewed black women. But behind the glitz and glamour was a life filled with struggle, resilience, and an unwavering determination to make her mark. In the early years of her career, Cicely faced hardship that most could never imagine. She lived in such poverty that she often had to borrow money just to get to auditions. And when she did make it, the reception was far from welcoming. Racism and sexism were rampant, and directors often told her that the only roles she was suited for were maids or faceless background characters. Even when producers pressured her to take roles that went against her values, Cicely remained steadfast. She refused to compromise her integrity, even if it meant walking away from opportunities that could have advanced her career. Her personal life wasn't without its storms either. Her marriage to the brilliant yet troubled Miles Davis was marked by pain and betrayal. Living with him was a constant battle, but Cicely endured, drawing strength from her challenges. Those personal struggles became the foundation for her art, infusing each performance with depth, courage, and authenticity. Cicely Tyson was more than an actress. She was a warrior. She turned her pain into power, dedicating her life to elevating the dignity and representation of black women everywhere. Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington is undoubtedly one of Hollywood's most iconic actors, known for unforgettable roles in classics like Training Day and Fences. But behind the accolades and fame is a man who has endured profound struggles, from a difficult childhood to the unrelenting pressures of success. As a child, Denzel's world was shattered when his parents' marriage fell apart. The arguments and eventual separation left scars that would shape him for years. Growing up, he wrestled with the haunting question: could he be the father and husband his own father wasn't, or would he repeat the same painful mistakes? The echoes of his fractured childhood followed him into adulthood. It's said that he turned down major roles, fearing success would pull him away from his family, just as his father's work had distanced him. But Denzel refused to let his past define him. Instead, he built a life focused on love and purpose, finding stability and strength in his family. Married to Peta Pearson for over 40 years, his relationship became the cornerstone of his life, a steady force amidst the chaos of Hollywood. In his career, Denzel chose roles that resonated with deeper truths, portraying characters that embodied strength, resilience, and hope for his community. When his mother passed away in 2021, the grief hit him hard, underscoring the fragility of life. Yet, her loss only strengthened his resolve to live with intention, cherishing every moment and striving to leave a legacy that extends far beyond his screen performances. Forest Whitaker. Forest Whitaker's rise to Hollywood stardom is a powerful story of resilience and determination. Growing up in a modest family, Whitaker faced financial struggles from the very beginning. Though he was once offered a football scholarship, a career-ending injury forced him to walk away from the sport. Undeterred, he found a new passion in the world of art, unknowingly embarking on a journey full of hurdles. But his path wasn't just tough. It was filled with judgment. His appearance, particularly his drooping left eye, became a target for mockery. He often found himself fighting to prove his worth. Directors turned him down time and time again, and there were even rumors that he had to sleep in his car when rent became too much to handle. Struggling with his own insecurities, Whitaker withdrew from others, but through it all, his talent shone through, undiminished by the obstacles in his way. The turning point came when he landed the role of the ruthless dictator Idi Amin in The Last King of Scotland, a performance that earned him the ultimate recognition, an Oscar. Looking back, Forest Whitaker's life is a testament to the power of perseverance, proving that no matter how tough the journey, the strength of a passionate heart can overcome anything. Alfre Woodard. Alfre Woodard is one of Hollywood's most impressive African-American stars, making her mark in the 80s and 90s with a career full of unforgettable performances. She didn't just win over audiences, she became a symbol of resilience in an industry often held back by racism. What many may not realize is that in the early stages of her career, she faced direct rejection due to the color of her skin. She had to fight against both racial and gender biases, with many telling her that her dreams were out of reach. This constant injustice took a toll on her, pushing her into deep personal struggles. She even battled depression, seeking therapy to cope with the isolation and heartbreak she felt. But instead of letting these challenges define her, Woodard used them as fuel. She turned her pain into a driving force for change, becoming a trailblazer for equality in the industry. She fought tirelessly for Black artists to have the same opportunities as anyone else. While her career may not have always received the same widespread recognition as some of her peers, her work, like her roles in 12 Years a Slave and Luke Cage, proved that talent and resilience can overcome any barrier. Viola Davis. Viola Davis isn't just a star, she's a symbol of resilience in Hollywood, though her journey to the top was far from easy. Born into poverty in South Carolina, Davis spent many nights sleeping on a cold floor, with her family struggling to put food on the table. Poverty was a constant shadow in her life, and hardship seemed to be her closest companion throughout her childhood. But instead of letting those challenges define her, Davis found the strength to fight, determined to rise above the circumstances that threatened to hold her back. Her path wasn't without its obstacles. Hollywood at the time wasn't exactly rolling out the red carpet for her. She faced rejection again and again, often because her appearance didn't fit the narrow standards of beauty. One director even had the audacity to tell her, "Your face doesn't sell tickets." But no matter how many times she was knocked down, Davis never gave up. Her breakthrough roles in How to Get Away with Murder and Fences proved that her talent, determination, and strength of character could not be ignored. Along the way, she faced loneliness, feelings of shame, and the painful breakdown of her marriage. Yet through it all, she kept pushing forward, fighting for herself and for those whose voices had long been silenced. Viola Davis is more than just an actress. She's a testament to tenacity and a fierce advocate for those who have been overlooked for far too long. Idris Elba. Idris Elba is a household name today, but his rise to fame wasn't without its challenges. Before the red carpets and awards, he faced some tough years. Growing up in poverty, Elba worked as a DJ at small bars, getting by on instant noodles while holding on to his dream of becoming an actor. When he first arrived in Hollywood, it wasn't the glamorous life we often associate with stars. With no money to his name, he often found himself crashing on friends' couches, unsure of what the next day would bring. But the struggles didn't end there. Once Elba began making a name for himself, his ambition to take on the iconic role of James Bond sparked a wave of criticism and backlash. The whispers of doubt and disapproval only grew louder. His personal life didn't offer much solace either, as 2 marriages fell apart, leaving him questioning his faith in love. The hardest blow came in 2021 with the loss of his close friend, Michael K. Williams. His death hit Elba hard, pushing him to the edge where he even considered walking away from Hollywood. Yet, despite the heartache, Elba found the strength to keep moving forward. He weathered the storm, proving his resilience and continuing his rise to superstardom. Behind the glittering lights of Hollywood, the lives of Black stars often tell a very different story, one filled with hardship and perseverance, not just the glamour we see on screen. Harry Belafonte. Harry Belafonte wasn't just a music legend. He was a symbol of courage and a fierce advocate for justice during the civil rights movement. His rise to fame began in the 1950s with the infectious rhythm of Caribbean folk music, especially with his hit Day-O, Banana Boat Song. But what many don't realize is that behind that joyful tune was a man determined to challenge racial injustice, no matter the personal cost. Belafonte's journey was far from easy. His activism made him a target. Hate-filled letters flooded his mailbox, threatening not only his career but his family as well. At one point, he narrowly escaped harm, fleeing from a performance as extremists chased after him. Hollywood turned its back on him, with producers distancing themselves out of fear that his political activism would ruin their careers. As isolation set in and sacrifices piled up, doubt began to creep in. Yet, despite the mounting threats, Belafonte refused to back down. He used his wealth to fund civil rights initiatives and formed a powerful partnership with Martin Luther King Jr. For Belafonte, the fight for justice was worth every sacrifice, every risk. His legacy is one of unshakable courage and selflessness. He faced threats, loneliness, and even financial strain, all while staying true to his belief that a better world was within reach. His story reminds us that true heroes are those who stand firm, even when the world tries to tear them down. Harry Belafonte wasn't just a star. He was a guiding light, showing us what it truly means to fight for what's right. Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg is one of the most iconic figures in entertainment, with an Emmy, an Oscar, a Grammy, and a Tony to her name. But behind these prestigious awards lies a story of struggle, resilience, and an unbreakable will to rise above it all. From growing up in New York's tough neighborhoods to battling addiction and enduring a series of failed marriages, Whoopi's journey was far from easy. As a young woman, Whoopi faced unimaginable hardships. She didn't have money or a stable place to call home. For a time, she slept on the floor of a run-down, rat-infested apartment in New York, fighting through some of her darkest days. Addiction nearly stole everything from her, even her life. But through it all, her love for art and comedy became her anchor, pulling her back from the edge when nothing else could. Whoopi Goldberg didn't become a legend by chance. Her rise was forged in those long, lonely nights when she kept going, even after experiencing the heartbreak of 3 failed marriages. Rather than letting her personal struggles define her, Whoopi poured everything into her work, using her talent and determination to break through. She earned her place in Hollywood, turning every setback into a powerful performance. Whoopi became a symbol of strength and hope, especially for Black women in entertainment, proving that no matter the odds, a relentless heart can change the course of life. Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett is an undeniable icon in the entertainment world, known for her unforgettable performances in films like What's Love Got to Do with It and Black Panther. But behind the fame and accolades lies a life that has been shaped by hardship and loss. Born into a family with little means, Angela grew up watching her mother work tirelessly to raise her and her siblings after her father walked out. That childhood, full of struggles, left an indelible mark on her heart. But it wasn't just poverty that tested her strength. The most heartbreaking chapter of Angela's life came in 2012, when she lost her best friend, Whitney Houston. Their bond was more than just professional. It was a sisterhood. Whitney's passing shattered Angela's world, and she found herself consumed by grief, often speaking to photos of Whitney as if she were still there. The weight of such pain could have broken anyone, but Angela refused to let it define her. Instead of letting despair take over, she channeled her sorrow into a purpose. She became a fierce advocate for projects that honored Whitney's remarkable legacy, while also raising awareness about the harsh realities of addiction. Angela's journey is a powerful reminder of the strength of the human spirit, showing how the deepest pain can be transformed into a force for change. Felicia Rashad. Felicia Rashad, forever remembered as Claire Huxtable from The Cosby Show, was the embodiment of grace and strength, a picture-perfect image on screen. However, her real life was far more complicated. After her divorce from Ahmad Rashad, the calm that had once characterized her life was replaced with turbulence. The public, always quick to judge, turned its sharp gaze on her as headlines blared about her broken marriage. No longer just the beloved TV wife, Felicia became the face of a woman trying to navigate through public scrutiny. The pressure to maintain her flawless image and meet the expectations tied to her career weighed heavily on her. Yet Felicia wasn't one to shrink in the face of adversity. She rose stronger than ever, carving out new paths in the theater with powerful roles, like her acclaimed performance in A Raisin in the Sun. Through her triumphs on Broadway, she proved that she was so much more than the character audiences adored on TV. Felicia Rashad's journey is a testament to her enduring passion, unshakable spirit, and the undeniable fact that her legacy would never fade. Octavia Spencer. Octavia Spencer's path to stardom was far from easy, but it's a powerful story of resilience. In an industry that often judges based on looks alone, Spencer was once told she didn't fit the mold, not because of a lack of talent, but because of her appearance. Early on, she faced countless minor roles and jobs that barely made a mark. Growing up in a humble home in Alabama, the road to acting wasn't smooth. She was told by directors to lose weight if she ever wanted a shot at success. But instead of letting those setbacks break her, they ignited a fire within her. At 30, she landed the role of a lifetime in The Help, and from that moment, everything changed. The dismissive glances and harsh words didn't define her. They fueled her drive to prove that Hollywood's limitations couldn't hold her back. Today, Octavia Spencer is not just a celebrated actress. She's a force of nature, a living reminder that true worth isn't defined by appearance, but by who you are and the strength of what you stand for. Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes was once a superstar of action films, known for his iconic role as Blade, a true hero on screen. But behind the Hollywood glitz, his personal life was filled with turmoil. In 2010, everything came crashing down. Snipes lost his career and was sentenced to 3 years in prison for tax evasion. The wealth he'd built up disappeared, his reputation took a hit, and he had to part with cherished film memorabilia. The items that once defined his fame, just to pay off mounting debts. But even after hitting rock bottom, Snipes refused to stay down. Upon his release, he took to the public with a heartfelt apology, hoping fans would remember the Wesley who once ruled Hollywood. Bit by bit, he began to rebuild. He took on smaller roles, and it wasn't long before he found his redemption in Dolomite Is My Name. Through relentless determination, Wesley Snipes proved that no matter how far you fall, with perseverance, you can always rise again. Gary Coleman. Gary Coleman's name became etched in television history as Arnold Jackson on the hit show Different Strokes, where his catchphrase, "What you talking about, Willis?" made him a household name. But despite the fame and fortune that came with his role, Coleman's life was far from the fairy tale many imagined. Born with a chronic kidney disease called focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, Coleman's childhood was marked by constant health struggles. The disease led to multiple kidney transplants and years of dialysis, and his stunted growth left him never growing taller than 4 feet 8 inches. While his youthful appearance made him the perfect fit for his role as a child star on Different Strokes, it also highlighted the personal toll his health took on him behind the scenes. Despite his early success, Coleman's fortune didn't last. At one point, he was earning $100,000 per episode, but his wealth quickly disappeared, lost to his adoptive parents and financial advisors who misappropriated his earnings. Though he sued them for the mismanagement of his money, it didn't stop the spiral of financial and legal troubles that followed. In 1999, Coleman was forced to file for bankruptcy, a blow that devastated his already fragile sense of stability. Coleman's personal life was equally turbulent. A failed marriage and 2 suicide attempts painted a picture of a man deeply struggling with inner pain. His physical health was a constant battle, compounded by the emotional strain of his career and personal struggles. Yet, he continued to fight for his life and his place in the world, even in the face of overwhelming hardship. In 2010, Coleman's story took its final tragic turn. He passed away at just 42 years old after suffering an epidural hematoma following a fall. His death marked the end of a life that had been filled with so much potential but also marred by deep personal and financial struggles. Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston's name is synonymous with musical brilliance, with her unparalleled voice gracing hits like I Will Always Love You and Greatest Love of All. Her career soared to unimaginable heights, earning her countless awards, including multiple Grammys, and making her one of the best-selling music artists of all time. But behind the glittering accolades and worldwide fame, Houston's life was riddled with profound challenges that often went unseen by the public eye. Born into a musical family, Houston's natural talent was undeniable from a young age. She broke records, sold millions of albums, and became an international sensation. But as the years passed, her life began to unravel in ways that would overshadow her remarkable career. In the late 90s, Houston married R&B singer Bobby Brown, and their turbulent relationship would quickly become a focal point of both their personal and professional lives. The media relentlessly covered their chaotic marriage, and Houston, known for her squeaky clean public image, found herself at the center of rumors about drug use. In 2000, she and Brown were arrested at an airport for possession of marijuana, and this was just the beginning of a series of public missteps. Houston later admitted to Oprah Winfrey in a candid 2009 interview that her marriage to Brown had been marred by drug abuse. She confessed to lacing marijuana with cocaine, revealing the depths of her struggles. Despite the love and adoration from her fans, Whitney couldn't escape the grip of addiction. Her once pristine image became tarnished by her battle with drugs, and her career suffered. Though she continued to fight, the weight of her demons was too much to bear. In 2012, Whitney Houston was found dead in a hotel room bathtub at the age of 48. The cause of death was later determined to be drowning, exacerbated by the effects of cocaine use and heart disease, a tragic end to a life once filled with so much promise. That's a wrap for this video. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed it and want to hear more, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when the next video drops. See you next time.